right now. Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna see if I can exit here and see what's going on. Can't see if anyone is joining me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, sorry, rough beginning. Let me see what I've got going on here. There we are. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So hi everyone, thanks for joining me. We are on the go here and I am just going to share my screen with you before we get started. Okay, screen share and yep, share my screen. So let's bring this up here and we will start our presentation. So my name is Jeanette Macleod. I think, let me just double check with okay, you see me, good. Okay, just making sure with Jamie here. Okay, guys, this is where we actually start. Okay, my name is Jeanette Macleod, and I want to talk to you today about hormones and taming the dragon within. So I've got a bunch of notes, I've got my books, I've got my oils, and we are ready to get started. So let's talk about our hormones. It is such a vast topic and there is so much information behind it, but I really noticed that there was a need to share this information. And I want to let you know that all of the information that I am sharing with you comes from this book right here. And it is called Taming the Dragon Within. So I just want to make sure I am recording. Pause share. I'm sure I am. Stop share live. Yep, I'm recording. Good. So it comes from this book called Taming the Dragon Within, How to Balance Women's Hormones with Essential Oils. And it is by two people, I believe they're husband and wife, and they offer a ton of information. They're also health professionals. So all the information comes from here. You can order this book from Life Science Publishing in Canada. Comes straight out of Calgary. They have all sorts of books there, and this is a great one to get if you or you know somebody who struggles with their hormones. So let's dive in. All of us are dragons. All women are dragons in a sense, and there are lots of things that we can do to really help that out. So there are all sorts of different dragons. We've got Moody Dragon, Sleepy Dragon, Hangry Dragon, Fire-breathing Dragon, and we also have a couple different dragons that live inside of us. And where that starts is with our endocrine system. So, okay, I guess I want to give my disclaimer first. That's right. This is why I have a PowerPoint. I am not a health practitioner. I don't claim to treat, cure, diagnose, or prescribe anything. You are in charge of you. And when you hear information that you think would be good and applicable to you, it's your job to research that and be comfortable with the decisions that you're making. So take what I say for what it's worth, but definitely do your own research. So let's talk about the hormones and the role hormones play in our body. So it starts with the endocrine system, and the endocrine system is kind of the top network of all of this, okay? I'm just going to check my time too. So if you see me looking down, just know I'm referring to some of my notes because there is so much information. I don't want to miss anything. So the endocrine system is a network of glands, and they secrete these chemicals we call hormones. And endocrine glands have a bunch of different things in common, but the most common thing is the production of hormones to direct the metabolic functions of the body. So the endocrine system is in charge of all of these functions that we have going on in our body. And although each gland produces different ones, they all produce their own particular hormone, they all affect each other directly and indirectly. Not much of a shocker. Our body is so intricately made that when one thing's going on, other things are going to be directly and indirectly affected. So let's stop at the top, the literal top, and it is called the hypothalamus. So you can see here, you can take some notes, you can do some screenshot, but here hormones travel through our bloodstream and evoke specific responses in our cells and in our tissues and in our organs, we're going to take a look at the different glands that are kind of under the endocrine system. It helped me because I don't have any kind of medical background and I didn't do very well in biology, that if I looked at this like it's kind of an umbrella, and the umbrella is the endocrine system, and under the umbrella we've got these different components. So here is the endocrine system itself. This is the whole endocrine system, and you can see there's pituitary, pineal, thyroid, thymus. The one thing that isn't in here is the hypothalamus, and that's the one that we're going to talk about next. So you can see the body and all of the systems that are under endocrine system. Oftentimes we hear that term in the health world, the health industry, that it's the endocrine system, and I think sometimes that a lot of people don't even know what the endocrine system is. So it's important to know the endocrine system is actually a lot of systems, and first and foremost, they deal a lot with our hormones. So let's talk about the Moody Dragon. Are you the Moody Dragon? Maybe, maybe not. It is the primary, the hypothalamus is actually right inside, and this is where the dragons can get really moody, and that's where it starts, is in the hypothalamus. So it is a regulator in our system. And one thing that I think is really interesting, and I read this, it says, many people think that our hormones control our emotions. So, you know, oh, they're hormonal, so their emotions are all over the place. But it's actually the other way around. Emotions control our hormones through biochemical changes in the brain. Fear, for instance, let's talk about fear, is accompanied by the production of one set of chemicals that alerts us to flee, run away, while pleasure triggers the release of other chemicals that soothe or calm, make us feel good. So we're used to paying attention to physical symptoms and responding to them, that, you know, but sometimes we also try to really ignore physical symptoms, right? Can we agree to that? So physical symptoms are a big thing, but oftentimes we ignore that, and that's not what we want to do. We don't let ourselves feel certain things because we're afraid to admit we're human. We're afraid to admit we might need help, or that we're feeling run down, or that we're feeling depressed. We don't want to admit to that. We don't want to admit to any kind of weaknesses that we have. And we deal with stressful or traumatic, or that we deal with stressful or traumatic situations like everybody else. So emotions impact our health a really big deal. If we're suppressing our emotions, it can cause whatever that particular emotion is to be sent to a corresponding organ. You may have heard this before. So I'm going to bring this up. Oh, I've got so many papers here. I don't want to miss a thing. So the one thing you might have heard of is the liver. So if you're feeling fearful or angry, angry is a big one, then that has actually been proven to send, I think it's cortisol, from your body right directly to that organ. And they have been able to actually run tests on that, that when you are going from an okay state to a feeling of panic or fear, that it goes right into that, and it really negatively affects the organ. Have you ever known anybody who's suffered from ulcers? They might have ulcers in their stomach and they're a worrier, or they tend to just like not be able to let things go. They hold on to that. I've heard of that with irritable bowel syndrome too, that when people hold on to things, they can't let things go, right? It physically impacts us. So if we're suppressing our emotions, it can really wreak havoc on our health. So interestingly enough, the hypothalamus has a direct connection. So the hypothalamus is kind of like right in the center, has a direct connection to our sense of smell, goes right to our nose. How cool is that? This means that when we smell things, they pass directly into the brain without any interruptions. When we smell something, it goes directly to our hypothalamus. And in order to do that, in order for there to be no interruptions and it be recognizable, it has to be carried by a lipid. And guess what an essential oil is? It's a lipid. So we've got these powerful tools that impact our health right in the palm of our hand. So studies have shown that scents held up to the nose instantly show up on tests and instantly go to the hypothalamus. Imagine the good that that can do for us. A very real opportunity for treatment of all sorts comes through aromatherapy. So the next time somebody tells you that the power of your essential oils is all in your head, you should probably tell them that they're right because it is really all in our head. Okay, so what's on the menu for that? What are we going to do if we are the Moody Dragon and we're dealing with these kinds of things? The first oil that kind of comes up here on the menu is Release. Release is a fantastic blend that you get from Young Living. It's got, I haven't actually looked to see, and I'm not going to go through all the different oils that are in it, but it is a great oil. This one is something that you can use for the Moody Dragon. Another one that you can use, I just want to make sure that I didn't do, okay. Excuse me. Another one that you're going to want to use, so we've got Release, and the other one is going to be Forgiveness. Okay, so let me talk about them. Like, how do we use these oils for this? So the first step is releasing our negative emotions. We really need to get rid of those negative emotions, and the first step in that is awareness. Often, when we become aware of things that stress us out, make us angry, overwhelm us, we can then shift our focus away from that. So once we start to become aware of those triggers, we can move away from them and really look at the roots behind those issues. It's best to work through one emotion at a time, one memory at a time, and you want to take your chosen oil and you want to apply it to your wrists or the back of your neck, maybe behind your ears. And another great way to do it is to take a drop of oil in your hand, just like this. If the oil comes, there it is. And you can just rub it around and cup it over your nose and take a few really deep breaths and really inhale that, because like we said, it's going straight to your hypothalamus, which is really going to help you with the moody part of the dragon. The second oil to look into, if this is you, is Forgiveness. Forgiveness is very important in dealing with any of your emotional work. Forgiving yourself and others while letting go of negative emotions is an important part of the growth journey and the things that we have to do. So we want to learn to see the good in situations. We want to change those pathways, those neural pathways in our brain, going from like the doom and gloom or the negative to starting to see the positive and retraining those neural pathways, and oils can really help with that. So if you're dealing with unforgiveness in any aspect of your life, things really are probably not going to change. So when you deal with that forgiveness of whether it's you or somebody else, then you will be able to emotionally deal with things and have just a healthier life for it. I'm also going to throw in there gratitude, right? Gratitude is what changes everything. So we've got Release, we've got Forgiveness, and then two others that you can look into that I would suggest are Harmony and Valor. Valor for me is a powerhouse when it comes to any kind of trial and tribulation. I just love it. I love the smell. I'm drawn to that smell. So also go with the whatever floats your boat. Go with the ones that you are led to and drawn to. Essential oils can help your body release stagnant anger, sadness, grief, judgment, low self-worth, like the whole gamut. So don't underestimate them. And it's important to remember that essential oils don't do the emotional work for you. They are simply a tool to use, a catalyst for that change. As feelings surface with the application of oils, we do suggest that you facilitate the healing process with other things. It might be therapy, it might be journaling. Again, that is a total personal choice. All right, let's move on. There was the Moody Dragon. Let's move on to the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland is the sleepy dragon. Are you the sleepy dragon? Do you feel yourself get really run down? You just can't function, that kind of thing? A damaged pituitary gland can cause the need for a lot of sleep. And you would be shocked at how many people probably have a damaged pituitary gland. A damaged pituitary gland also causes a lot of other problems. So let's talk about that. If it isn't functioning correctly, the other glands and the other organs are not going to function correctly either. Again, it's all intertwined, right? So we need everything working in its full capacity, very operational, so that we can get those different signals and it all to function appropriately in the appropriate environment. The pituitary gland produces several hormones that have a direct effect on your body, including the human growth hormone. The pituitary also sends signals to the ovaries and the testes. So we are going to get a little bit into the fertility issue here. It's going to go to the ovaries and the testes, but it also goes to the kidneys, and that controls water retention. It goes to the uterus to promote contractions during childbirth, and it goes to the mammary glands to produce milk. But that's not all. Don't think it's just that. A damaged pituitary gland can happen from all sorts of accidents, dating back to childhood and even childbirth. So you can get actually a damaged pituitary gland from having a forceps birth, like you being the baby in the forceps birth, cesarean birth, shaken baby syndrome, which of course we really hope isn't the case. It could have been from a falling from a tree. Maybe you bumped your head. It could be from falling out of a bunk bed, a car accident, sports injuries, like you name it. A damaged pituitary gland can come from anywhere, and it becomes inflamed there are many symptoms of pituitary damage, and this is where I encourage you to take a look at the book. So on page 13 in this book, it actually has a list. And I'll hold this up, so if you do the replay, you can pause it and have a look at this list. But it talks about all sorts of things, like it could be high blood pressure, low thyroid function, weakness, poor memory, adrenal insufficiency. So lots of, a big list of things that can indicate pituitary damage. Now, what is on the menu for pituitary? Well, let's take a look. A few things recommended for pituitary support is frankincense and lavender. So these are great oils. In this book, it's recommended that you can take 4 to 5 drops of each oil and hold it into the top of your mouth and do that, or no, it says a drop of frankincense and a drop of lavender. Hold it to the top of your mouth 4 to 5 times a day, and that will really help to support the pituitary gland. But another thing is something that all dragons love and all dragons should have, and if you are a dragon at all, it's something that you should be taking, and that is fish. So we should all be having fish oil, and that comes in omega-3. It is a fantastic omega-3 fatty acid, D3 and CoQ10. They enrich the brain, and all dragons love fish. So make sure, especially if you're the sleepy dragon, that you have omega-3s in your life. That is a big one. So we've got frankincense, lavender, and omega-3s, big ones. So remember, dragons love fish. All right, let's keep moving. The pineal gland. So this one, let me see, it doesn't line up with my notes here. Some of it might be a little off, just so you know, so bear with me. Yes, this one is known as the third eye, and I thought I did information around it. I'm going to skip this slide for now. I'll read this slide and then we'll skirt over it. So this is known as the third eye, the gland that produces melatonin. The gland is responsible for the body's internal clock. The reason we feel tired or alert at similar times each day is caused by this gland, and it is in the center of our brain. So frankincense and brain. What frankincense can really do for your brain is oxygenate. It's really good for that. And it's got a lot of sesquiterpenes, and that stimulates the pineal gland. So definitely, let me just make sure. Okay, I don't think I have adrenals. No, I don't. Okay, I'm missing a slide here. Let me just come down here. I'm going to back up, and we're going to talk about the thyroid. So I don't have my slide. Oh, here it is. Yeah, let's talk about the thyroid. That's what we're going to do. I just want to double check my slide back here, and we did pineal. Okay, yeah, the thyroid. So dragons have voracious appetites. If your thyroid's the problem, you are the hangry dragon. Now, this is under the direct, so make sure, this is under the direct, or the direction of the pituitary. So we just finished talking about pituitary, and then it was pineal pituitary. It's in direct relation to the thyroid secretes hormones. We probably know women in our life that have had thyroid problem or suspected thyroid problem. So a lot of this information might be very interesting to you. Primarily, thyroxine is the one secreted with the thyroid, and that boosts the metabolism of virtually every cell in the body. So if the thyroid does not send out the correct amount of thyroxine, the other endocrine glands can't be stimulated to do their job and send out their hormones properly. Again, all interconnected. A slow metabolism, of course, we look at that as a slow metabolism can cause weight gain, and a fast metabolism can cause excess hunger. The thyroid may malfunction in being under or overactive, and unfortunately, the underactive thyroid is the more common condition. Many people complain of depression, mental issues, and they don't even realize that they have hypothyroidism. And after a visit at the medical doctor, they can end up spending the rest of their lives on an antidepressant, not realizing that the thyroid is the issue. Other symptoms could include fatigue, weakness, memory loss, weight gain, hair loss, decreased libido. Again, this book is fantastic. On page 16, it gives us a list of hypothyroidism, because of course, when you have hypo, then, because there's hypo and hyper, and hypo is usually it, but there's a lot of other things: constipation, irritability, abnormal menstrual cycles. These can all be part of that thyroid issue. These symptoms may or may not be present, and some will be milder than others. If you do blood tests to investigate your health, just remember that what is considered normal on a lab test derives from a bell curve, and that bell curve average of the local population as a whole. It doesn't speak to what your personal normal health parameters are. Your personal health may fall outside the bell curve or only have a slight deviation. So we encourage you to advocate for your health and make sure that you're happy and satisfied with the way treatment is, or, I mean, trust your instinct, trust your intuition, right? That's a big one too. So if it's your thyroid, let's talk about what's on the menu for that. So your thyroid loves Endoflex and Myrtle. So the first thing with your thyroid problem to jumpstart things is the Endoflex. The thyroid also loves Myrtle, and you can do the two in conjunction. The throat is a great place to apply because your thyroid is in this area. So I've often said to people, apply to the site of concern. And of course, this would be the area you're targeting. So apply your oils there. One thing I want you to remember is when you're looking for results, and you're wanting instant results, of course, you're hoping for instant results, that that might not happen for you. You might feel better right away, and that would be great. But if you do, even if you do begin to feel better, make sure that you do this for 4 months. And this is something that surprised me. It takes 4 months for those cells to completely be, what is the word, like regenerated. For the old cells to actually die off and the new cells to come in and it be healthier. So if you don't see immediate results, don't be discouraged. Do it for 4 solid months, and that will be helpful. So we've got Endoflex and Myrtle are going to be your powerhouses if you are the hangry thyroid dragon. All right, I'm going to skip past this one and go to Adrenal. So let's look at the fire-breathing dragon. Are you fire-breathing? I hope not, but if you are, I've got help for you, and I have somebody mowing their lawn right outside my door, so I hope you can still hear me. The adrenals are very, very busy, especially in our day and age, producing a whole host of hormones that play a large role in regulation body systems. Adrenaline is one of the most well-known hormones that gives our body energy. It gives us our get up and go. Adrenals are also important in controlling blood pressure, sweating, and other activities. The middle of the adrenal gland produces hormone building blocks for reproductive system to create male and female reproductive hormones. Whenever there is any kind of trouble with hormones, It's vital to include support for adrenals in this treatment. Like, we know we live in a very fast-paced world, and adrenals, I think, just need to be supported anyway. We know that cortisol gets released. That's our fight or flight, and that can really do damage to our body. So the adrenal glands of a person who live a stress-filled life are constantly secreting cortisol. I mean, constant. And in an effort to deal with stress, thereby, listen to this, it tears down muscle and bone and depresses the immune system. The condition of essentially always being on alert will literally wear a person out over time. I was shocked to learn that it'll actually tear apart my muscles if I continue to live in a stress-filled world where I'm constantly secreting cortisol. All right, that's not too bad. Let's look at estrogen. We'll look at estrogen and progesterone, but this, I want to talk really quickly about Shutron. I didn't grab my husband's Shutron before I sat down, but I want to talk to you about male health. So this is actually really important to talk about because males can really suffer from low testosterone. So let's talk about their hormonal health for a second. The most common androgen is testosterone, and it is responsible for muscular physique, bone mass, and hair growth. But another thing that it can also be responsible for is things like moodiness and depression. So once a man reaches the age of 30, his testosterone levels begin to decrease each year, which is also responsible for weight gain, irritability, lower sex drive. So you can see here how much is really being affected when they have lower, like their hormones are out of whack also. Idaho Blue Spruce and Shutron are the best oils that can help support his hormonal health. When a few years ago, when Shutron was released, we were fortunate enough to be at a gala event, and the man who actually developed Shutron, his name is Dr. Dan Purser, feel free to look him up, talked about how Shutron is actually like I'm not sure specifically, concentrated version of Idaho Blue Spruce, and it actually has the ability, I think it was, if a man uses Shutron every day for 30 days, his testosterone increases by, I think it was 10 times. Like until, and we have to remember that oils are homeostatic. So they support the body to get into its best possible. It's not that if he keeps taking it, it's going to explode the charts or anything, but it actually gets him to where it needs to be and then helps him maintain those levels. So definitely an important part of the male health. All right, let's talk about women's hormones. So estrogen and progesterone. Whenever we talk about women's hormones, we immediately think estrogen and progesterone. Generally speaking, the majority of women have excess of estrogen and a serious deficiency in progesterone. I'm going to share some pretty interesting things with you as we go through this. So although a main role of progesterone is to help women get pregnant and stay pregnant, progesterone is critically important to the female body, even for women who are menopausal, even for women who don't have periods, and even for women who have had a hysterectomy. Every dragon needs progesterone, period. And dragons live to be a ripe old age. And no matter what, every dragon needs progesterone. Progesterone is a neurosteroid, meaning it's produced in the nervous system in addition to the reproductive system. It has been found to have the ability to carry signals, meaning it is a significant actor in the brain. Let's talk about this. This is a really interesting study, so I'm going to read this to you. In one study, it was shown that a third of epileptic women had low progesterone. Although epileptic medications did not control their seizures, an increase in progesterone did. Progesterone plays an important role in memory and cognitive ability, and questions have arisen about the possibility that comes or the possibility that some women with Alzheimer's may simply have low levels of estrogen or progesterone. I'm really distracted by this lawnmower. Oh my goodness. Okay, so progesterone plays an important role in memory and cognitive ability, and questions have arisen about the possibility that some women with Alzheimer's may simply have low levels of progesterone. Furthermore, progesterone is found to be a mood stabilizer for those with bipolar, and as such, a great replacement for antidepressants. Now, I'm not telling anybody to get off their antidepressants. That's not what I'm doing, but I am trying to bring to your attention that progesterone is seriously important to your overall health as a woman, no matter what has happened to you. If you are a woman, progesterone is very important. So turning now to the reproductive system, we find that after childbirth, the body suddenly goes into a high estrogen state, which was necessary to deliver a baby and to be more balanced. Failure to increase the level of progesterone can lead to postpartum blues and low milk supply. So super important for somebody who's just had a babe to have that supplement of progesterone to make sure their milk supply is high and their postpartum blues are low. Progesterone will not harm the baby before or after birth, and in fact is critical to the health of the embryo. So what does that tell me? That tells me that before, during, and after, he's gonna come right beside my window, you guys. It is important to have that high dose of progesterone. Okay, let's talk quickly about why estrogen and progesterone work together. In the case of receptors, first estrogen has to attach itself to a receptor. So we have estrogen and progesterone, and they want to attach to each other to make us healthy. So progesterone is here, and estrogen comes, and it actually, it's estrogen, and then a receptor comes and attaches to it. Then progesterone comes and attaches itself to that, okay? Once this attachment, the chemical reaction can take place in the cell that the hormones were sent to start. So everything can work together after that chemical reaction happens of the estrogen receptor progesterone. Great. If progesterone isn't there, the estrogen will inhibit the chemical process. Of course, we need to have that, that progesterone in order to make that chemical reaction happen. So if there's no progesterone there, it's not actually happening. If it stays like that long enough, then it incites cell mutation, and it can potentially cause tumors or cancer. So that's why everybody needs Progestins Plus. My bottle might look a little bit different than yours. I got this when I was traveling in the States, but yours in Canada would be called Progestins Phyto Plus, Canadian versus American, but same awesome thing that we all want to be using. Okay, what is estrogen? Estrogen, I want to make sure, okay. Estrogen is responsible for feminizing a woman's body. At elevated levels, estrogen exaggerates its normal effects, okay? So for example, it might make you too fat, it might make you crave sweets like uncontrollably, it might cause migraines, and it might cause insomnia, weaken libido, depress your thyroid, and it can promote nervousness and jitters. If that weren't enough, it stores in your body fat. So not awesome. Ridding your home, I hope you guys can hear me. Ridding your home of toxic products becomes incredibly important. I didn't even think to bring you up on Facebook. It becomes incredibly important because all of the things that we're exposed to contribute to cell health and the lack thereof. So when we talk about like food additives, hormones fed to animals that we eat, insecticides, weed killers, plastic, shampoo that has all the different chemicals in it, the linings of food and drink cans, cosmetics, our makeup, and detergents. These things are all called xenoestrogens. Today, people have an excessive amount of estrogen, and it's because of these found in the in the products, in just in our environment, really, like in our food, in the environment, that kind of thing. So it is really everywhere, and it's in an excessive amount. But what do these xenoestrogens do? They attach to the estrogen receptor, and that causes mutations. So the xenoestrogens, so they are like estrogen, and they are wreaking havoc all over our body, going through our body, and then they attach themselves to the estrogen receptor site, and that prevents the progesterone from actually being able to attach to it properly, and that wreaks havoc on our body and has a direct impact on our reproductive health. So I'm going to say that again, that when our body, so all of these terrible food additives, hormones, plastics, and chemicals, they come into our body as xenoestrogens, they float around, and because the progesterone cannot attach to that, that can significantly have an impact on the reproductive system. It's vitally important that we avoid those. Progesterone works to not only restore balance, but also remove these from the body. So by taking your progesterone or your Progestins Plus, Progestins Phyto Plus, you're also actually helping it clean your body out of all of these things so that you can be a balanced, happy woman. All right, so let's talk about, and again, we want to be, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm all set up here. I should have thought about that earlier. Sorry, this is kind of a bit of a hot mess. Okay, infertility. I want to talk to you about infertility in particular. This is an issue. This is an issue. I know a lot of people who have trouble with fertility, and that's a hard thing. So infertility has actually become a pandemic to some. I mean, this is all opinion, right? Infertility has become a pandemic in the US and Canada. Ironically, in our abortion-plagued society, there is an innumerable amount of women who want children and cannot get pregnant. So in the book, Taming the Dragon, the author says this, and I quote, "I found in my practice that most women who cannot get pregnant have problems with their bowel and liver function. It might seem odd, but stagnant bowels send toxins to the uterus, and malfunctioning liver causes hormonal imbalance. The authors claim that out of the hundreds of women they helped in their clinic to become pregnant, only 5 did not, after being taught proper cleansing habits. These 5 women are all sisters and had emotional issues that they were not ready to deal with." All right, so that's interesting to know. Unfortunately, modern Western medicine typically looks only at the reproductive system if you're struggling with fertility. We've forgotten the importance of the liver's role. The liver is, of course, the filter. It takes on everything. Bowel health, yeah, Jamie, bowel health is so important. It is such a big deal. So one of its many jobs, many jobs the liver has, is that it destroys excess used hormones. Did you know that the liver also filters out used hormones so that there aren't too many floating around in the bloodstream, which would cause the hypothalamus to fail to signal the pituitary gland to send out fresh hormones. Interesting. So again, all connected. If there are too many hormones in the body, it again is balanced and out of whack and not good. Another important factor in the body is in the body's capacity to make hormones is the liver's ability to process fatty acids. Fatty acids, I think we've heard about this before. Our body needs enough healthful fatty acids in order to work properly. And this can be found in a supplement that we have called Omega Chai, because all dragons love fish, and that is a proven fact. So our bodies need enough healthful fats to work properly, and it can be found in supplements as flaxseed oil, evening primrose, and our high quality fish oil. So that is good. So other problems hindering fertility can also originate with the digestive tract itself. So if digestion is a problem, if you've experienced problems with your digestion, that might be one of the problems. So an enzyme to help break down and absorb is going to be important. If the colon is sluggish or clogged, toxins will leach from there into your body. And the thing is that it's nearby to the reproductive system, and that will contaminate. If you're trying to get pregnant, there can be a lot of contamination there and it won't function properly. So the good news is it may only take anywhere between 3 and 6 months to really have a good colon and liver cleanse, and a woman can be restored back to full fertility from cleansing and using the proper supplements that support her body. Now let's talk about Progessence Phyto Plus in particular. Essential oils are homeostatic, and I had mentioned this earlier, and that means that they bring about balance in the body. So there's no overdosing or anything or going weird. It really just actually raises your body to the level that it needs to be and helps maintain that. So it's a crucial difference between essential oils and pharmaceuticals. Essential oils don't force change to the body. They simply promote that healthful state. So some essential oils evoke a hormone-like response to the body. Some essential oils will act as estrogen at one time, and they'll act as progesterone another, depending on what your body needs at the time. I know, hokey pokey, but so cool, and I definitely believe it's true. So in other words, the oils don't stimulate estrogen unless it needs to be stimulated. So how cool is that? Progessence Phyto Plus is a micronized human bioidentical progesterone derived from wild yams in a base of vitamin E and Vitex oil. It also contains frankincense, bergamot, clove, and peppermint in it to assist to enter the cells more easily, and of course for those additional benefits. It works wonderfully on teenagers, preteens, women of menopausal age, women in between. Again, I can't say it enough. If you're a dragon, you need to have it. And yeah, again, even if you've had the hysterectomy, all of those things, if you're a dragon, it is the woman hormone. That's what we need. If we're a woman, that's the hormone we need. It is extremely important that menopausal women, including those who've had partial or complete hysterectomies, be using PPP. You aren't making as much progesterone anymore in the ovaries, but the lining of the gut and adrenals are still pumping out estrogen. So if those are still pumping out estrogen, we need to be pumping in progesterone, okay? A few points, I don't know if I have it on the next slide, let me just check. A few points to make about Progessence Phyto Plus is that it is safe to take during pregnancy. Yes, we can do that, because if you're pregnant, you're still a dragon. It is safe to take while breastfeeding. Yes, you can do that. It is not a good idea at all to take Progessence Phyto Plus if you're on birth control. That would be probably not. And the other time nobody should, the other person that shouldn't take it is men. This is not good for men. It actually has negative effects on men. It did not elaborate what negative effects it was, but it said definitely not for men and will have negative effects. If your symptoms, if you start taking this, so let me tell you where I put this. So my Progessence Phyto Plus, I put right on my forearm. I do 2 drops every day. So this is something that you're going to have to kind of play around with. Everybody's a little bit different. So I've heard some women say that they only use it during their cycle. I've had women saying they only use it not on their cycle. I use it every day. It's just part of my routine every single day. I have one friend, and okay, so it even says here, day 1 through 7, she does dragon time around her ankles once or twice a day and takes PP as needed for headaches, mood swings, aches, and pain. So my friend Debbie, she told me once that she uses this like she uses Midol. I was like, tell me more. And she said, well, when it's that time of the month, she's fine for all the whole month. But then when it comes to be time for her cycle, she'll get headachy and she'll get crampy. And she'll just take a drop. She uses it like essential oil. She takes a drop and she'll put it literally like on her ovaries or on her abdomen. And within a couple minutes, her cramps disappear. If she's getting a headache, she'll take it and she'll like put it on her temples and her headache will go away. So she uses it during her cycle like an essential oil. It's anybody's game, you guys. You just got to play around with it. So it is, so let's just talk about this. I missed something. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope. We did. Oh, you know what? I didn't talk about the fire breathing, but, and what we use on the menu for fire breathing. But I do want to draw attention to the fact that there is a really great handout. And it looks like this. It's called Taming the Dragon. And it's a menu PDF that you can have. And it gives you the whole menu that I'm talking about. So although I failed to talk about the super bees in the nutmeg oil and the energy oil as a fire breathing dragon, don't worry, you can go back and look at the menu and it will all make sense according to this presentation. All right, we're wrapping up, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. This is so cool. I hope this is bringing you value. Okay, it is best to start slow with Progestin's Phyto+ and use it symptomatically. So again, you can start there. I kind of didn't, I just jumped right in. You can also put a drop or two on your carotid artery. So your carotid arteries are here, and I think it actually even says that in here, it gives you directions. And it says here on the bottle, apply 2 to 4 drops of Progestin+, mine might be different because it's American, to the stomach, feet, or inner thighs each day, rotating application sites and applying to the same area 2 days in a row. So that's cool. And I agree with that. Definitely cycle where you put your oils. That's totally cool. Adjust as necessary and experiment. The one thing, though, that I want you to know is if you start to feel, what did it say here? If you start to feel nauseous, take more, because that indicates you have low levels of progesterone. So if you start putting it on and it's going down, or you're nauseous, it's because it's down. So you need to really raise it up, amp it up. Some women apply it to the backs of their knees, their wrists, their forearms. Some will apply it constantly all month. Some will take a week off during their cycle. Every dragon is different. And this is the same. You're going to be different from the next dragon, but definitely be taking it. As you use PPP, you may feel more joy. Your libido might rise. Your periods might be better with less bleeding. Some have said that to have an increase in energy and experience weight loss, have better bowel and bladder function. Many women enjoy amazing results from this product. So for some, it happens quickly. Others, it takes weeks or months. Remember, it takes 4 months to create new tissue. So don't give up. It's okay. We're all unique dragons. And as long as you're getting this and your progesterone is up, then you are going to have your body in a much better place. So keep it up. The body is healing what it needs to heal first to survive. Then it will begin to heal what you feel is the most, what it feels is the most important next. Okay? So the body is healing what it needs to heal. It will go there. And I've actually heard that before. Taming your inner dragon every day. Tame your inner dragon every day by taking care of your hormones, along with the right food, a little bit of exercise, and the right amount of rest will allow you to lead a nice, gentle, more human life rather than the dragon life. You'll be happier, and so will those around you. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. Again, my name is Jeanette Macleod. Thank you for having me. I hope this brought some value to you. Make sure you check out the dragon menu that accompanies this PowerPoint. If you have any questions, definitely ask them. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of this very easily, but we can try. All right, you guys, take care.